For the women Sparta captured, the real terror began after the battle ended, inside a system designed to erase them quietly. You stand on foreign soil, inside a Spartan holding yard. The air is cold, still. The sounds of your burning city are just a memory. Your old life is 3 days dead. Now only silence waits. Other women form silent rows around you. No chains, no guards. An unspoken rule holds everyone in place. A man in a crimson cloak walks forward. He needs no introduction. His voice is dry, factual. Your former titles are void, he says. You are assets of the state now. The words are not shouted, they are inscribed into the quiet. You learn instantly, to react is to be seen is to be weighed, and in Sparta, everything is measured. You are not destined for common labor. Slaves serve with their hands. You will serve a more specific function. He speaks of allocation, of civic need. The language is chilling in its bureaucracy. This is the first lesson. The horror here is not rage, it is procedure. A machine that requires no anger to operate. Rules are enough. Records are enough. Sparta does not hate, it inventories. He leaves. Spartan women step forward, separating the group with silent efficiency. You cross an invisible line, not into chaos, but into a cold, preordained process. You are led to a barren stone building. It smells of dust and wet clay. There are no instruments of torture, only a stone table and a waiting attendant. Her face is empty of malice or pity. She is a component of the machine. You answer her questions in a flat voice. She scratches marks onto wax slab. She does not explain them. Knowledge is not for you. You are led to a cell. Other women sit in absolute silence. Speaking is a risk no one takes. That night, a precisely measured portion of food arrives. You see the calculation. What is useful is maintained. All else is waste. And you must prove you are not waste. Lying awake, memory assaults you. The smell of smoke still in your hair. Just days ago, you had a name, a family, a home. Here, you are a set of data. You recall Athenian rumors about this place, tales meant to frighten. They were not exaggerations of violence, but underestimations of cold logic. You have entered a society that does not believe in chance. In Sparta, destiny was not left to the gods, but to clerks. At dawn, you are already awake. Your body has learned that deep sleep is a vulnerability. The ritual repeats. More questions, more markings on wax. The process is a ritual, honed over generations. You are not being judged, you are being cataloged. Back in a courtyard, you see the architecture of control. Everything is built to endure, not to comfort. The stones are unforgiving. Sparta builds to persist. The same principle applies to its people. Conformity is preservation, divergence is removal. To understand this, you must rewind time. Sparta was not born this way. It was forged by fear. After conquering its neighbors, it ruled a resentful, larger population. The lesson was learned. Survival depends on absolute control, not consent. This logic reshaped everything. Childhood became training. Family bowed to the state. Emotion was a liability. The body became civic property. Over centuries, this control was called virtue. Spartans learned not to question. Doubt was a crack in the wall. Ritual replaced thought. And when a practice is normal, it ceases to look cruel. It simply is. You are the product of that calculus. You are not here for punishment. You are here for integration. The training of Spartan youth created minds that obeyed without explicit command. They no longer distinguished right from wrong, but useful from useless. And in the deepest shadows of this system was an unspoken tier, a final stage for absolute obedience, never discussed, only hinted at. You feel its presence in the whispers at night. In Sparta, fear needs no proof. The men this system creates are not monsters, they are logical outcomes. They act without feeling, obey without pause, and they decide your fate from sheer habit. A Spartan woman named Gorgo enters. Her body speaks of lifelong discipline. The evaluation is complete, she states. No warmth, no cruelty. You are assigned to a domestic unit. This is not an offer, it is a classification. Other outcomes exist for those who fail. She does not name them. The silence is the threat. Comply and you continue, she says. Otherwise, you will be reallocated. Her tone is pure fact. You see it then. She does not see herself as a villain. She sees herself as necessary. The man you are assigned to is Kleandros, a full citizen. His stillness is like a coiled spring. He speaks of strategies and harvests. You cautiously ask questions, not challenges, but clarifications. He begins to engage. You represent something bizarre to him, a safe audience. You are outside the system, therefore you cannot judge him within it. This recognition is dangerous. A summons comes. The Ephors, the ruling council, sit in a barren room. They speak of time and results. Then a name. Lysander has made a petition for you. The name carries weight. The request is irregular. It introduces risk. They present you with an option. Accept Lysander's petition with unknown consequences, or refuse and accelerate the demands of your current role. It is an illusion of choice. Both paths serve the state. You choose to stay with the devil you know. They dismiss you. The message is clear. The clock is ticking faster now. That night, Kleandros is uneasy. He knows the pressure has increased. The city's patience is not infinite, he says. You understand. Passivity is no longer a strategy. That night, you act with new purpose. You accelerate the process the state demands. Your body has become your only leverage. To delay is to fail. The following days are a blur of examinations and instructions. You follow them precisely, making every action count. Kleandros, in turn, begins to defend his asset in public, using the language of efficiency and yield. He is building a shield of utility around you. You realize survival is not just compliance. It is about becoming indispensable. You must make the machine need you. You begin to think in moves, like a game of stones. Sparta sees you as a cog. You must find the tiny margin within that role, the almost invisible space where a cog, if perfectly placed, can dictate the machine's next turn. Your mind becomes your fortress. They may control everything else, but this inner citadel is yours. You will learn their gears so completely that you can, one day, gently guide them, not through rebellion, but through meticulous, undeniable necessity. The most potent resistance is not a shouted no. It is the quiet, relentless will to survive on your own terms, even within their walls. If you found this journey into the Spartan psyche compelling, please like the video and delve deeper with us on Shadow of History.